Hello, I'm Amy Max, Program Manager for the California Opioid Safety Network at the Center for Health Leadership and Practice, a program of the Public Health Institute. You are about to watch a quick take video that has been condensed from its original format to present examples of meeting facilitation best practices. The subject matter expert for this webinar is Karya Lustig, Deputy Director for the Center for Health Leadership and Practice at the Public Health Institute. Let's get started.
The first thing is having an agenda, which sounds kind of basic, but sometimes people don't because they're just kind of moving quick or they're used to meeting and kind of have a formula to how they're doing their meetings. But it really helps people stay focused and have a focused objective or purpose to the meeting. Going into it, sometimes people feel like coalitions or groups might be meeting kind of endlessly around something, especially if they've been around a while. And so having the agenda helps keep a focus on what it is that you're currently trying to talk about. It also helps people prep for the meeting in terms of sort of entering the space, knowing what's going to happen. For people that are introverted, it really helps because it helps them think ahead about things that they might be thinking, that they might want to say. They might have information sent in advance around a discussion topic, and it helps people prep that might not think as well on their feet. Another important best practice is to separate the agenda out into sections of the type of topic. So, for instance, frequently people do updates or like calendar, invite type of announcements or events, and that's really different than a discussion item. So separating out and having a time where people do updates or, invitations about different things going on in their organizations might be in an update section. And then there might be decision time, so there might be things on the agenda where the end result of whatever conversation is going to happen needs to be a decision. And that should actually be denoted in the agenda that you're going to have a decision there versus pure discussion. So the discussion might be purposeful end result being a decision, and you would have both listed. You also might just be having a discussion about something because you're brainstorming it, and you might not actually need to end it. But separating out those areas is really, really useful because it helps people understand what they're supposed to do with the information, like that there's supposed to be a discussion, for instance, because sometimes people won't launch into kind of brainstorm mode or discussion mode without the invitation to do that, or sometimes people divert into discussion mode and you don't want them to be doing that, so it helps contain that a little bit. Sometimes people do just the structure of an agenda, so the order of things that are supposed to happen and kind of the blocks, and maybe even the blocks of time, and not super specific kind of line item time. And sometimes people like to do line item time. I used to be a line item time type of person and have converted somewhat into the order or kind of blocks of time because I find that people get stressed out looking at the blocks of time if we fall out of order. And in my head, if I'm facilitating, I kind of know the structure and that we might have time for things. And so if I have the blocks, it allows me a little bit more flexibility in how I manage that time to get through everything without people being stressed that we're kind of off course a little bit. And there's less times I feel like I need to check back in with the group to make sure that it's okay to go over time or something like that. But people have different preferences to that, and both of them work fine depending on the group. But you should have one or the other. So either the detailed time next to every line, or blocks of time where it might be 15 minutes of updates, half hour of discussion, or something like that. And then the last thing for the agenda best practices is to make sure that you have time at the end of the meeting where you do some sort of summary and next steps. So it could be a summary of decisions made or a summary of key bullet points related to the discussion topic or an announcement reminder about an event that everyone's supposed to go to. And then if there's next steps, like someone's supposed to get more information about something or someone's supposed to send out something, you want to make sure that all of that's noted at the end so that there's a clear endpoint and, again, summary point. And a lot of times meetings just kind of fizzle out, and you don't want that to happen with something like a coalition meeting. And then think about roles. So within this, there should be someone taking notes and someone keeping time and someone facilitating. So the timekeeper is really important, and again, depending on what kind of style agenda, they're rigorously keeping you to it versus more the timelines. But someone that's kind of keeping track of the flow and the times and calling attention to the fact that you might be going over or under is really useful, and it helps have that be someone's job versus one person trying to manage everything. Note-taking, same thing. The person running the meeting or keeping time shouldn't also be trying to keep notes, but it's really important to have notes. It could be just, again, summaries of brainstorms, like bullet points of key things. It could be, just the decisions documented that are there. But there needs to be some sort of reference point to come back to. It really helps, of course, if people aren't at the meeting so they know what happened. But it also helps because frequently people forget something. It seems really noteworthy at the time, and then you might forget what meeting you decided something. You might forget the details of a brainstorm because you're talking about it now, and then in 3 months you do something else with it and you can't remember what you all decided, or people just need the information for whatever reason. So it's really important to note take, and it doesn't need to be what every single person said verbatim, but there needs to be a systematic way of keeping notes that you all agree to and a person that's doing it. And then the facilitator role is super important. So I highly, highly recommend having a facilitator. This preferably would be someone that's playing a neutral role at the meeting, so not a person that has a heavy stake in the meeting itself. You could rotate facilitators so that it's not always the same person, but it's hard to have a strong opinion about something and also be trying to facilitate a discussion with a group of people that might not all be the same thing because of the power dynamics, and then also because it's hard as a facilitator to feel like you can offer your opinion sometimes. So having a person that's the designated person to help keep people on track, having a person in that designated role is super useful and important and really helps coalitions and their functioning over time.